Tintin XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome aboard. The new drug today is another day of the Combine. Day number 3 for us. No, that's not right. Day number 2 for us. Old. I'm not young like you. I'm an old guy. Numbers run together. Day number 2.
Well, we've been having so much fun.
It's been a fun time is what it's been.
That's what it feels like we've been here 3 days.
Yes, we have. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon with you. JJ LaSelva back at World Headquarters. Busy day today. If you were listening earlier, you heard Liam Cohen and James Gladstone. I was able to catch up with both, and we aired it live on Helmets and Heels. Thank you to Lauren and Taylor and for allowing us to jump in and do that, and Mia, who certainly did so much work here from a digital standpoint, recording it, and you'll see it on all our social channels. But it's good to catch up with the coach and the GM. We'll talk about that. You'll hear both those interviews in the 5 o'clock hour today. James Gladstone at 5 o'clock, right at the top of the hour. Liam Cohen about 5:15 or so, and then Hayes will have headlines at the bottom of the hour. This hour, you're going to hear from Matt Taylor, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Colts. What an interesting franchise the Colts are, if you think about it, Hayes. What an interesting. If they always seem like they're right in the middle of the playoff hunt, but they haven't won the division since 14, haven't won a playoff game since 18. It doesn't seem like it's been this ignominious run for the Colts, but it has been.
I think, again, just the being blindsided by the Andrew Luck retirement. I mean, they would have thought in 2025 that he still had 5 more years left as being their quarterback.
Right.
And he's been out of it now for 5 years. It's just, I just think that was the kind of thing that when that happens, and Andrew Luck was, sensational as a player. But just apply it to the Jaguars. Like, what if Trevor Lawrence had a big 25-26 season, established himself as a star, and then just decided to walk away? When you're not playing it, when you're blindsided by that as an organization, I think their reaction was, well, we're built to win. Let's try to keep that going. And so they went down the, Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. And then they finally were like, that was disappointing. They were, to your point, they weren't terrible. They just weren't elite. And then they finally were like, okay, we're going to invest. We're going to, take the 4th overall pick and go get our quarterback. And for some reason, they selected Anthony Richardson, which was such a high-risk move that we talked about for months leading up to that draft.
Right.
And it hasn't panned out. I mean, he's had moments where he looks like he's unstoppable, but for the most part, he's been unavailable. And he's been a disappointment. I mean, his completion percentage is about as dreadful as you'll ever find. Not that that's the only metric that you would go off of, but it indicates, that you're going to have trouble moving the chains consistently when your quarterback is under 48% as a passer. So I think it starts with that. Shane Steichen, Chris Ballard, their brain trust, they're going to speak to reporters in about an hour here. So it'll be interesting to see, how they view things. But I think that's the reason. I just think it all goes back to the seismic retirement of Andrew Luck, one of the most shocking retirements that we've seen in this league. I mean, you can count them on one hand, and he's in. Jim Brown was a shock back in the day. Certainly Barry Sanders was a shock when he retired. Megatron was a shock when he retired so early. Andrew Luck might be the biggest of all because he still looked like he had 12 to 15 great years left. So I think that would have been hard for any organization, and unfortunately the Colts just haven't, for them, been able to to really get back to the elite. They've been able to tread water, but that's not good enough in the NFL today.
Yeah, they've really tried, and they've tried all the veteran quarterbacks, as you said. So, Matt, I'm going to ask Matt all those questions. You heard from the voice of the Houston Texans yesterday, Mark Vandermeer. You'll hear from the voice of the Indianapolis Colts today. Typically, you'd hear from the voice of the Tennessee Titans. You won't on this trip. You know why? They don't have one.
How about that?
They still
Mike Keith.
They still have Mike Keith, for people that don't know.
Rocky Top.
Yeah, he's gone to his alma mater to call the Tennessee, which is his dream job. And he'll be the voice of the University of Tennessee football and basketball teams. And so they have not yet replaced him. And so you will not hear from the Tennessee Titans. By the way, tomorrow we do where the 4 of us get together normally and talk about all things going on. And we won't have Mike Keith tomorrow. So So Mark and Matt and I decided what we're going to do, and we put it on video, and it goes to all the different our station all over. We decided we're just going to put a picture of him up there.
Yeah, there you go. And just bash the Titans.
And make just bash him. Yeah. But Mike's one of our dear friends. But anyways, all right, the coaches who were here today. We told you Sean McDermott yesterday. Today, Ben Johnson, Pete Carroll, Nick Sirianni, Andy Reid, Mike McDaniel, John Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, Liam Cohen, of course, Todd Bowles, Brian Callahan, D'Amico Ryan, later Shane Steichen. Did I miss anybody? Those are the ones I saw today.
Yes, a couple of those are still to come, but yes, it's been very lively. Again, no one has to talk here. Most teams do. I think we counted like 26 of the 32 have either the coach or GM, in most cases both.
Yeah.
And McDermott went yesterday. He was the only one. I think Schottenheimer is going Thursday.
Okay.
And for why, I have no idea. But yeah, today is the active
Today's the big day, yeah,
for GMs and head coaches. And look, there's a lot of news that comes out of that. I mean, the Browns were up here today, and their GM was adamant that they are not trading Myles Garrett.
Right.
That was very interesting to hear. Yeah, a lot of good stuff from all these head coaches in terms of the direction of their particular clubs.
Yeah, so we'll hear from that. Also, in the 440 hour, you sat in on a bunch of these coaches. I want you to tell me, because I want to start with the Jaguars, and then we'll get back to the Jaguars when we hear from their brass. But in about the 440 hour, I want you to go through a litany of guys that you sat in on, and the tenor. Everyone's in a good mood here today. But what's the tenor of? Boy, I saw Nick Sirianni walking around. He had a little pep in his step. Did you see Nick at all?
Yeah.
He not cocky, but
yeah. I listened to a pretty good amount of Sirianni. These coaches will normally go 15 to about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It depends. I mean, you can certainly glean a lot of information. But, yeah, absolutely. Sirianni and Roseman today they had a strut to them.
I didn't see Howie. I saw Nick. I walked right by him.
The forehead is healed.
Yeah.
You couldn't see anything in terms of the parade beer bottle that was accidentally hit him in the face.
It's funny, too, watching these coaches come around in their sweats. Nick Sirianni had on sweatpants, a ball cap, sweatshirt, sweatpants, and a ball cap.
It's a very casual vibe.
Yeah, it really is. So he saw him. Andy Reid was funny as always. He was up, so we saw Andy Reid.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was around the same time as Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, so there is some overlap. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good day, and certainly a lot of good news around the league today.
So I want you to assess the one. I want the tenor of so many of these coaches you heard. We'll do that in 440 hour. But let's start with the Jags. Then I'll go to Matt Taylor. Then we'll do that, and then we'll hear from the Jag brass later on in the program. We're live here at the Combine. Glad you're with us on this Tuesday installment of our program. As always, our Tuesdays brought to you by the Nimnick family of dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet and Cassett, Nimnick Buick GMC, located on Phillips Highway. How, in your opinion, how were the Jags received? You watched both Liam and Gladstone at the podium. You also sat in on scrums. When we say scrums, what happens after the podium? The podium's for everybody. And so we all tweeted out pictures of the masses of media kind of all around those guys. But then after that, we go to they pull them aside for the local people that are there. Who's here from Jacksonville? You, Mia, Brett
Martineau, Demetrius Harvey, John Shipley.
Yeah.
So Osher.
Yeah. So 7 or 8. Yeah, 7 or 8 of you guys. Actual media that are beat reporters covering the team. So first question, how did you think the Jags brass was received by the others, by the national media today? What was your read on
I think the national media as a whole is sort of like, good for Jacksonville for trying something different. It may not work. I think there's certainly reservations about the inexperience factor, but I think that, the idea is, look, you hope that these two young guys are up to the task of building a winner in Jacksonville. So, yeah, I think it's more like there's an interest, there's a curiosity, I would say, from the national media on how it will go, and we'll see. But I think that for the most part, it's optimistic just because it's totally new. It's what we wanted locally. I think that's also manifested around the nation in terms of, look, are the Jaguars really going to get serious about this thing? And I think with Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, Shad Khan has definitely taken a very bold approach in terms of fixing this. We'll see if it works, but it's unorthodox, and I think that's appealing in some ways.
That's the question I got the most. I've sat in on a bunch of them today, like you have. We all, when we come here, we sit in on a bunch of other teams or other cities, and the question I get no matter where I go today is, what do you think about the kiddie corps? What do you think about the Brat Pack? What do you think of all these young coaches and these young people that are running the staff? And I said, listen, they all project, and I'm throwing Tony Baselli into the group young, even though he's in his 50s. The coach in the gym are in their 30s. I think they all project as guys that look to be very good at their craft. Now we'll see. It's easy to be undefeated when you also have no wins and no losses in that position. I understand that, but I think it's a good place. I think it is. But that's what I've heard from people around. Again, you'll hear from the specifics in a minute, in about a half an hour, 45 minutes. So, but that's what I hear from everybody.
And I thought there was some really good stuff from Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, in their availabilities. I'll start with Liam Cohen. I mentioned this in the handoff, how passionate he is about the evaluation process, the personnel standpoint. That's really cool. And, and again, hopefully he has a big-time eye for talent. But it's clear, I mean, they have handed the keys to Liam Cohen, and he wants to be every bit as involved in the personnel side as he does in the X's and O's. And you know how important that is to him. So that was really cool to hear from him. I thought James Gladstone was really good about, sort of where the league is going and how that applies to the Jaguars. He was asked about the running backs becoming more of a factor in this past NFL season, and he says that feels like a shift. That doesn't feel like a fluke. That feels like a shift. Obviously, Liam has done a magnificent job in Tampa with that running game. And Gladstone said, look, our priority is that offensive line, that defensive line, and guys that score points. That's what we're looking for.
And it's going to be fun to watch them. Again, James Gladstone, he and I caught up for a one-on-one earlier on Helmets and Heels. You'll hear that at 5 o'clock. Liam Cohen and I, second time we've had Liam on the program, really enjoyed that at about 5:15 or 5:20. But let's take a break. We want to go around the AFC South as we always do. You heard from Mark Vandermeer from the Texans yesterday. When we come back, Matt Taylor will join me. He is from the Indianapolis Colts, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Colts. That's how we'll kick off today's program. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
I lied a big secret. People are smart. They can handle it.
Because you did not use the magic word.
What is the magic word?
1010XL, where sports magic happens.
Please.
I'm Renee Harrell. At Harold & Harold, we understand when you've been in an accident, there's a lot to handle. You've lost pay, and now the medical bills are piling up. When there isn't much insurance, some attorneys will pay your bills, take their fee, leaving you with even less than them. Not at Harold & Harold. We'll work hard to reduce your medical bills, and we promise our fee will never be more than you take home. Call us today, 904-251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey folks, Nick here for Zero Res, and if you still have a little bit of time for the hottest price of the year on carpet cleaning, maybe you had people over for the game or you're doing early spring cleaning, but in February, only $147 for 3 rooms, plus the 4th room is free. That's right, schedule now and you'll get 3 rooms for $147, and the 4th room is free. Yeah, the 4th room is on me. Hottest price of the year. Zero Res. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Ceroreec.
you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Staying Alive, one night of the Bee Gees. A tribute like you've never seen before. Experience the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist performed live. March 6th at Jack Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
I'm Hays Carlyon, and I'll give you glimpses of future NFL stars and who could be a good fit here in Jacksonville. Listen for Combine Commentary with Carlyon during the Frangie Show on 1010XL, brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, you know, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
Hi, I'm Janice. I'm a coach at Awaken 180 Weight Loss. When a client reaches the goal that they've set, they are so proud of themselves. They are so thrilled with how they look and how they feel. They are ready to take on the next thing. And that's one thing about weight loss. It's so much more than a number on a scale. It's about self-respect. It's a momentum thing. Now that I've lost 50 pounds, wow, there's no reason why I can't do this next thing that initially seemed so daunting, but now I know I can do it. The celebration is not just how much better you look and feel, but how much more self-respect you have. We get on a track of success at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Losing weight with Awaken 180 isn't about the number on the scale. It's about how that number spearheads endless success. Bring your goals to Awaken 180, then celebrate when you check off each and every one of them. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hodges Mazda presents the Frangie Show at the Combine. Brought to you by Window World of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
All right, welcome back to the program. We're live in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine. Frank Frangie, along with the terrific play-by-play voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Frank. Welcome to town.
Thank you. Like I tell you, this is your home game, so it's good to be here.
I'm 25 minutes south of here. I don't take it for granted.
Close by. You know what? I hear you. I hear you. Let's talk a little bit about. We'll get to the division in a minute. But let's talk about the Colts a little. I get the sense the Colts are a franchise that are generally close. I know they haven't won the division in a while, but you're not throwing up any 2-15s either. Is that a good read that knocking on the door, not quite there the last 2 or 3 years? Is that how you see it?
I think you could objectively classify the Colts as, you just have to call it like it is. They are sort of in NFL purgatory.
Okay.
What I mean by that is they've missed the playoffs 4 straight years. And in 3 of those 4 seasons, they've won at least 8 games.
Okay.
Right? So that means you're drafting sort of where they're at right now. Last year they were 15th. This year they're 14th. They did sort of bottom out in that 2022 season. That was the year they had Matt Ryan at quarterback. They went 4-12-1 that year, got into position to draft Anthony Richardson. So I think you're right. Your assessment is correct in that, the roster overall has been good. It's solid in a lot of important places. Offensive line's been good. Running back's been good with Jonathan Taylor, obviously. Certainly quarterback play is up and down, needs to be way more consistent. Huge offseason for Anthony Richardson. I'm sure we'll talk about that more in just a second. One of the bigger conundrums about the Colts, if you're covering the Colts on a daily basis, if you're in the trenches with it, is that Gus Bradley's no longer with the team. They separated ways with him at the end of the season. There's just, and this is a hill I'm going to die on, there was just way too much, and there continues to be way too much individual talent on that defense for it to be where it's been the last 3 years.
Right.
Last in the NFL or towards the bottom in points allowed and all of the major defensive metrics. You've got Pro Bowl players and Pro Bowl caliber players in all 3 levels of that defense. It's a mystery to me why it hasn't been better, but they've taken next steps in terms of trying to fix it with Lou Anarumo now in at defensive coordinator. So, yeah, it's a team that's close. It's on the cusp in a lot of cases, but they haven't been able to break through, haven't beaten a lot of playoff teams or playoff caliber teams in the last couple of seasons, and that's where they've been. They've been 7 and last year they were 8-9. Year before last they were 9-8, but haven't been able to win the division, haven't been able to break through. They haven't won a division since 2014. And haven't hosted a playoff game since that year, haven't won a playoff game since 2018. And the reality is that since their last division title in 2014, every other team in the division's won at least twice.
Right.
And 25 out of 32 teams have won a division in the NFL since the Colts' last title.
Well, I didn't realize our division. I knew the stat, did not know the 25 of 32. And look, in today's NFL, you said it. Let's segue to Anthony Richardson. That's the answer. You're right about you got to be better defensively. You got to be physical. You and I had this conversation on your air about the Jags need to get more physical, but you got to have quarterback play. So I ask you this. It seems like every time we do this, what do you think, and what is the general perception about where the Colts are headed with Anthony Richardson?
Well, it's an enormous offseason for him. He understands. I mean, last year was another up and down season. Both off the field and on the field. Production wasn't there consistently. Got benched for those 2 games. So the reality is, the guy's played 2 NFL seasons. He's played less than 1 full season. He's played in only 15 games. He's had 4 different injuries, and he's been benched for 2 games. So needless to say, it's a really important offseason for him. The Colts have preached at the end of the season that there's going to be some competition for him. It's going to push him. It's going to make him better. But also what Chris Ballard, the general manager, said at the end of the season is that as of right now, he hasn't shown he can play a full 17 games, right? The availability's been a problem. So that's coming. We just don't know to what degree it's coming, right? We don't know if it's going to be a free agent quarterback because the free agent quarterback class is what it is, right? It's there's guys that are getting up there in age or they haven't panned out other places. You know how that goes. And then, again, they're picking 14th, so they're not going to be in a position to grab one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. So what does that look like? Where does it come? How legitimate is it? But they have been steadfast in that Anthony Richardson is going to have to earn the title of starting quarterback next season, considering the injuries, the lack of availability. Last in the NFL in completion percentage, last in quarterback rating and passer rating and all the important metrics. He's working with Chris Hess this offseason. He's the same guy, the same throwing coach that worked with Josh Allen.
Right.
He took that big jump from year 2 to year 3 working with Hess. So they're hopeful that comes. But, the reality of it is that, again, Anthony Richardson, last in the NFL in completion percentage. He completed 47% of his passes last year. Obviously, that has to go way up. But the reality of it is that if you look at the qualified quarterbacks from last year, Frank, guys that qualified in terms of number of attempts, there were 40 of those guys and 38 of the 40 completed at least 60% of their passes.
Yeah, 48's way off the mark.
So
it's not like he's at 56.
Exactly. So you're asking him to improve his completion percentage 13 plus points to be third worst.
Yeah.
So it's probably not realistic that he's going to be 60%, but ask him to be 56, 57, be better than where he was last year to complement what he's already really good at, complement his strengths, and that's running the football, really good running quarterback, and he throws a good deep ball, believe it or not. And he's got selected amnesia. He's really good in the fourth quarter, believe it or not, too. So you want him to be better, more consistent, and obviously the defense needs to take a jump, too. And hopefully this is a team that can get over the hump and finally make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I will tell you, and I have told you, we've had this talk a bunch. Matt and I are pretty good buddies, so we talk about this league a lot. At Florida, which we see every Florida game, we air every Florida game on our station. He was a wonderful kid. He was a wonderful talent, but he couldn't stay healthy, and he was not very accurate. That was. I watched it, man. He only played 13 games. He only started 13 games there, but he wasn't very. And I love that he's a nice kid, but he wasn't very accurate, and he was always hurt. So at some point, that might be who you are.
Well, and that's the reality again, is that the same questions you had on him 2 years ago are lingering on.
Yeah.
You still don't have definitive answers because of the lack of sample size. 15 games total.
Yeah.
So he missed 13 games last year with the shoulder. Has had a myriad of things. At the end of this season, he had the back injury that kind of flared up that took away his ability to close out the season in Week 17 and Week 18. Yeah, the Colts, this is a really important offseason for Richardson, but it's a big one for the Colts, too, because they need to know extensively what they have in him. Can we win with him? Can we build around him? And it's also the third year of a 4-year rookie contract where, at the end of the third season, you can invest in that fifth-year option. It's the first time you have an opportunity to invest in the quarterback after you drafted a couple years ago. So they have a financial decision to make after this season, and they need to have a clearer picture on who Anthony Richardson is and what he can be as a quarterback.
Yeah, and it's tough for the Colts because you've been there, done that with all the veteran guys, and I get that. Quick thought about the other team, the rest of the team, then we'll get to the division real quick. You got a great running back, one of the best running backs in the league. I think the pass catchers are pretty good.
I do too.
And I think the line last year played more like it when it was a really good line. I agree with you. From afar, the pieces seem to be there. Shane Steichen's a guy you like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it comes down to the quarterback quickly. What other weak areas do you see?
Well, defensively, Lou Anarumo now and at defensive coordinator, he's going to tweak some things. He's had some time to look at that personnel. He's a guy that's hopefully is going to be more game specific, a little bit more nuanced, maybe blitz a little bit more, vary up coverages. Because that was kind of the knock on the Colts is if you were the other team's best player, you might have a big game against the Colts. They routinely, Brian Thomas had two really big games against the Colts, right? So that's kind of been the knock on the Gus Bradley defense is that, you know who you need to stop. You're just not doing it because you go out and play who you are. You stick to your scheme. There's not a whole lot of game variance there. So Lou Anarumo subscribes to a little bit of a different theory there. And in order to be successful running that type of a scheme, he needs to have guys in the secondary that he can trust, that are savvy, that are good tacklers, that are good disguisers of coverages. So maybe some help in the secondary. And I think they've got some tough decisions to make along their offensive line. They've got Ryan Kelly, who's a free agent. He's been with the Colts since 2016. He's reaching free agency for the first time. Then Will Fries, their starting right guard, is a free agent as well. And then Braden Smith missed the last handful of games at the end of the season dealing with a personal matter, and that really hasn't been resolved yet. So they could be looking at potentially having to replace 3 offensive line starters, right? Guys that have really complemented what they have on the left side with Quentin Nelson and Bernard Ryman. So they've got guys that they drafted last year, specifically Tanner Bortolini, who was a day 3 pick out of Wisconsin, Matt Gonzalez, who was a day 2 pick out of Pittsburgh. Those guys are good. I think they're long-term answers, but if they're plugged into more prominent roles next season, then you need more depth. You need more draft pieces on the offensive line behind those guys, which I'm sure the Colts are going to be looking at in this draft. So those are the two big areas, but certainly it all starts and stops with quarterback play and trying to get more consistent there.
Final thing, how do you see the division? One thing we all know is it's a winnable division because we've all struggled enough. The Texans were better 2 years ago, but Mark was just on with me. They didn't have the year they thought they'd have last year, even though they had a good year. So your thoughts on the division?
Well, I remember coming on your show, I think, back in the summer, and I was wrong. I thought it was going to be the best this division has.
We all did.
Parity-wise.
Yeah, we all did.
It was formed in 2002, and I thought you were going to see, 3 teams win at least 9 or 10 games, and it didn't happen that way. And so now I don't know really what to think, especially with the Colts, running it back again with Anthony Richardson. Hopefully he can get better. Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence and a new regime across the board there in terms of the front office. I do still think the Texans are the team to beat. I don't know what the Titans are going to do with the first overall pick. I don't know what their quarterback situation looks like. So maybe ask me in 3 months, maybe back in, when we come back on in June and do this again. But as of right now, I think there's more questions than answers really with all 4 teams.
Anybody's division to win, no question. Matt Taylor, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Colts. Matt, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Back from the NFL Combine in Indy after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnick Buick GMC. And as we begin 2025, Nimnick is excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. If you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnick. Here's to another year of driving forward together. Looking for a better used car shopping experience? Well, you'll find it at Nimnick Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. Now with Car Bravo at Nimnick, you'll get transparent pricing, the best value on your trade, and peace of mind. Now is the best time to shop certified used vehicles and buy with confidence. And man, you get all the makes and models: Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford. That's right, all makes, all models. Trading in your old vehicle? Don't forget who gives you top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnick. So shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
For many, it's the happiest place on earth.
At 17 in Players Championship.
Get live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling.
And Beaver Toyota.
On 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
It's game time for your business, and Advanced Business Solutions has the winning play. With Xerox copiers, you'll never miss a deadline. Fast, reliable, and built for high performance, Xerox copiers keep your team ahead of the competition. From printing to scanning, Xerox brings the MVPs of efficiency to your office. Ready to make the winning move? Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions. Veteran owned.
Printers, copiers, and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
Winter is almost over, and the Epic Florida heat is on its way. You need reliable air conditioning. Epic Cool Heating and Air is here. Take advantage of the Epic Gold membership program and use one of your 2 yearly tests of your entire AC system. You know it's going to be epically hot, so be epically prepared. Plus, no interest financing for 18 months. That's epic. Visit EpicHVACService.com today and trust the experts at Epic Cool Heating and Air to stay epically cool. That's EpicHVACService.com.
1010XL celebrates high scorers.
1010XL and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists celebrate scholar athletes.
In class and on the court.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on the Frangie Show.
Hello, I'm attorney Malcolm Anthony. Being charged with domestic violence can turn your life upside down. If you're in trouble, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Experience the high-flying action truly unlike anything on the Supercross circuit at Daytona Supercross. Saturday, March 1st. Side-by-side intensity of Monster Energy AMA Supercross on the most demanding track of the circuit. Get close to the action as riders get pushed to the limits on the Ricky Carmichael-designed track. For a chance to win tickets to Daytona Supercross, answer this. Who won the 450 Final Supercross at Daytona in 2024? Text the winner's last name to 641-1010 now.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Coen Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Coen Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at CoenFlowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Live from Indy, Hodges Mazda presents The Frangie Show at the Combine. Opened by Window World of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
We are live at the Combine. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon with you here. Glad you're along for the ride. I do want to thank our friends from the Nimnick family of dealerships, always sponsoring our Tuesday programs. And, of course, Hodges Mazda, our friend David Hodges, and us always sponsoring our trips here. I can tell you David Hodges and my buddy Billy Nimnick, great friends, and they know that car business awfully well. I can tell you that for sure. All right, you're gonna hear from James Gladstone at the top of the hour. Liam Cohen right after that. I was able to sit down with those guys earlier today, but yesterday, Sean McDermott was here. Today, Ben Johnson, Pete Carroll, Nick Sirianni, Andy Reid, Mike McDaniel, John Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, Liam Cohen, Todd Bowles, Brian Callahan, D'Amico Ryan, Shane Steichen. Big list.
Big list.
All coaches that were here today in their sweats and their ball caps and a very casual day. So we saw all of those guys today. Some you sat in with. I'm gonna go guy by guy that I know you kind of sat in their interview session. What'd you take? First of all, Pete Carroll. I saw him over here with the Raiders crew. What did he have to say? What got your attention from him?
With Pete Carroll, I thought the interesting thing was he talked a lot about. He was asked a lot about Seattle, and one of the things that he talked about of what did you learn going from Seattle in that experience. And one thing that was interesting, because I think again these are things that come up. I think we've heard this come up with Liam Cohen and James Gladstone. How you treat people, and Pete said, going from USC to Seattle wasn't the culture shock that he thought it would be from how you deal with players. But he was like, what I have found is when you treat players well, when you connect with them, that's how you can best bring out the best in what they like to do. So, but obviously he's very excited to be back in it. I think he wasn't sure he was going to get a chance. And now he has obviously a an opportunity in Las Vegas to make the Raiders relevant again. It's a big task, but it was cool hearing from Pete Carroll. And, in regards to, going down the line, and, John Harbaugh was really interesting as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go one by one.
Okay.
Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll, by the way, is going to be fantastic. I really love him. Nick Sirianni.
Sirianni was good because a lot of, obviously, the tush-push has been a really big thing here in the last 24 hours. The competition committee has met about, that's been one of the things they've brought up. And, so Sirianni obviously, talked about that, how, he was like, look, the league has the data, but we haven't had any injuries on the play. I would say that it isn't a play where the injury risk is greater. And obviously a big portion of his time as well was Saquon Barkley and workload and things like that. And he said, we've got an incredible team. Saquon Barkley does an incredible job, and we're not concerned with workload. We're going to do whatever it takes to win a game. And he said if that's giving him the ball 25 times, that's what we're going to do. And obviously that was a big part of why the Eagles are world champions.
Andy Reid was asked today. I know you didn't see him, but I did because I was kind of walking back over here after Liam was done. He said, look, I don't like it. I worry about injuries a little bit, but if I could do it, we'd probably do it. He said anything you get an advantage, so I applaud them for doing it. John Harbaugh, who's a great guy, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big John Harbaugh fan.
Yeah, John Harbaugh was good on a couple of fronts. First off, the Justin Tucker allegations, he addressed that. And one thing that he said he'd called Justin a couple weeks after it came out, just more to see how he was doing and things like that. They've obviously had a long history together. But one thing that he said is, no one in this league lasts forever. And we are evaluating kickers here at the Combine, which is not something you normally hear from a coach because there's only a handful that even come to the Combine. And obviously the media, we paid zero attention to the kickers that are here. But I thought that was interesting that, Harbaugh made it sound like it was more a performance thing than it was the allegations. But we know Justin Tucker struggled last year, and what looked like a surefire first ballot Hall of Fame career, all of a sudden now, and he may still, he may still get that, that chance in Canton, but he was not himself. And so I thought it was interesting that Harbaugh was very open about the Ravens are going to try out kickers or are going to evaluate kickers here. And he was great on the tush push. John Harbaugh's point is, look, unless you're going to ban pushing down the field, kind of what we talked about yesterday, he's like, we see it now. We see running backs down the field and the tackle helps them, pushes them. So if you're going to take away the tush push, then in John Harbaugh's mind, you can't only take away the tush push. You've then got to take away any kind of assistance downfield that where a runner is being assisted by a teammate, and he just doesn't think that should be the case. So he is all for the tush push because he just doesn't feel like you can take just that out, but he didn't seem to think that they should legislate taking away pushing the running back when you're 9 yards down the field. So that was kind of interesting.
Eric DeCosta, by the way, also here, the general manager for the Ravens. Back to Justin Tucker for a moment. He said, look, it's a real concern. He said those allegations are concerning to us. He didn't dismiss them at all, and he didn't seem to try to redirect or try to. So interesting stuff. All right, next up, Sean Payton. I did not get to see Sean Payton.
Yeah, and in fairness, Sean was probably the one that I listened to the least, but it was interesting because he kind of fell in with a theme again that we're seeing in Jacksonville. He talked about the young offensive minds in this league and that is no longer a concern. And he kind of made a funny joke. He said, look, I can say this as the youngest coach in my division, which is shocking. But Sean Payton is. He's certainly no young man, but Andy Reid, Pete Carroll, and Jim Harbaugh. So Sean Payton, the youngest coach in the AFC West. But it was interesting to hear Sean Payton kind of talk about the offensive minds that are up and coming. I will say Sirianni also had a really great line. He kind of unsolicited we was talking about like things that you study in the off season, and he said, there's always things that as a coach you want to look at. Why are the Rams so successful on offense? That is something that that we're studying. But that's what you want to hear, because that's what your franchise here in Jacksonville has just invested in.
Right.
Is that kind of mentality. So so that was cool to see. But yeah, Sean Payton talking about kind of the young that age isn't really a big concern right now, because again, there does seem to be a real seismic change offensively in what coaches are doing schematically, motion, things like that, formationally to get an advantage over the defense.
And finally, Dan Campbell.
With Campbell, it was a lot of losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, the coordinators, hiring the replacements there. I will say, to me, he raved way more about Glenn than Johnson, which I thought was intriguing. And he brought up something, again, that I think applies maybe to the Jaguars last year with Ryan Nielsen. He was talking about when you go to hire a defensive coordinator, in his mind, you want it to be somebody who starts really with the coverage first, that the coverage is what you kind of need to take care of first, and then the front kind of fits in to the coverage. And he says you can do it the other way, but that, in his opinion, from what I gathered, it's trickier to do it that way, which took me back to Ryan Nielsen, who, as we know, was a defensive line coach, and it might have made some sense as to why they had so many coverage lapses last year, because it was more focused on the defensive front, and the back end wasn't as tied together as they should be.
Interesting stuff. All right, let me tell you what I leaned in on a little bit. Heard a little bit of Ben Johnson at the Chicago table. He's a confident dude. And he should be, right? He's a confident dude. I think that's what kind of stood out to me. Listened in on Todd Bowles, who's right next door toward us, is one of the Tampa Bay tables. He's an interesting guy. Todd Bowles was right in the middle of the Liam Cohen stuff. As you know by now, both Todd Bowles and Jason Light were here, and both said, listen, it's over with. I wish Liam the best. He's a good football coach. He'll do well. Jason Light also said to Rick Stroud, they said, is there an opportunity for a joint practice with the Jags? And Jason said, we haven't gotten that far yet. It'll depend on the schedule. But if there is an opportunity, none of that will be affected by the Liam stuff, which I thought was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I was surprised, again, at how harshly he reacted anyway.
Yeah,
so I'm sure with a month to process it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think he told his local, guys, time heals.
And
I'm
that's
sure
what he said to
the
Stroud.
case.
That was the end. That was the end of his comment. The end of his comment when talking to Rick Stroud was the schedule isn't out yet. It'll depend on what the schedule says. Then we'll see. He said, but if that was in play, none of that would be affected. And then he ended it with time heals. So that was Todd Bowles just seemed to be in a good place. He was walking around here with a big grin on his face. Look, he's won the division 3-4 years in a row.
Right.
He's in a good place. Brian Callahan has to be on the hot seat, right? Even now.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting, new GM and the first overall pick, and a question at quarterback in a year where there's not a first overall pick at quarterback. I mean, it's a really interesting year for the Titans. I wish Mike Keith still was the play-by-play guy so I could have him on the air and ask him, and they don't have a play-by-play hired yet. But a really interesting season for the Titans if you think about it. First of all, they fired Mike Vrabel. Still go figure. I still don't get that.
Right. They traded A.J. Brown.
They traded A.J. Brown.
For nothing.
They
ended up getting nothing.
But that's right. They brought in Brian Callahan. It did not go great. They look like there's a possibility that they've missed on their quarterback. And now they have the first overall pick with the new GM, and no one's real sure what to do. What an interesting franchise, to say the least.
Yeah, and again, you're starting to see way more of the draft experts in terms of their mocks putting Abdul Carter 1. Again, we'll have to see what does Tennessee do. Maybe they are aggressive in free agency at that position, and maybe that's their answer. Because it can't be Will Levis. I mean, maybe Levis gets an opportunity.
It sure doesn't feel like it does.
I can't imagine Will Levis is their week 1 starter, at least that's the plan. And so, but if you're going to take Abdul Carter, then if you're Tennessee and let's say you don't get Sam Darnold or one of these other guys that might be out there, if you're just signing, let's say, like maybe a Jameis Winston, which I would say is more of a good backup, not necessarily a starter, that you'd want to commit to, it gets really interesting. I mean, I kind of hope the Titans take a quarterback because I'm not sure either Ward or Sanders are going to be great. Abdul Carter is going to be great.
Yeah, I agree.
And so that's one that would concern me. With,
I think he's the best player.
Tennessee.
I think he's the best player in the draft.
Yeah, I think you can certainly make that case. Yeah. And to have Carter and Simmons there on that defensive front would be a problem for everybody, including the Jaguars.
Sat in a little bit on Mike McDaniel's podium moment. He's a smart guy. He's a very, very cerebral guy.
Big year for him coming up.
Big year for him.
Yeah, he might be number one on the hot seat list.
Sat in with him for a little bit. And I love listening to Andy Reid. Andy Reid's got it all. He's got Super Bowl rings. He's been really good at 2 different franchises. He's well liked. He's in the commercials. I like Andy Reid.
Oh, sure.
I really did. And I was kind of, it was kind of almost. I was right in front of the podium, and he was talking right after our guys did. And yeah, he's just a kind of a regular guy. He's a guy that he's burger over steak. He's got to be domestic beer over craft, right? Isn't he that guy?
I would think.
Yeah, he's just a good old boy, man. And so it was great listening in on him. I wish Shane Steichen just walked back there. I just saw him go back there. I wish he wasn't talking when we're on.
Right.
Because I'm really interested in his take on Anthony Richardson. You just heard on our program earlier today, you just heard Matt Taylor, the play-by-play voice of the Colts, pretty much tell us, look, they're going to bring in competition. They've made it clear they're bringing in competition. 2 things about Anthony Richardson. We talked about this with Matt that we saw at Florida. Number 1, injury prone. Number 2, not a particularly accurate passer. Well, guess what the NFL has shown us? Number 1, injury prone. Number 2, not a particularly accurate passer. And we know all the people, Denny, our friend Denny, and others who really know and like him, and by all accounts, a wonderful kid. And I'm rooting for him, or would be rooting for him if he wasn't playing one of the rivals, Hays. But not accurate. 48% in this league, 46, 48, whatever it is a real struggle. And the fact that he's having trouble staying on the field. So it'll be interesting to see. I wish I could hear what Shane Steichen's going to say about it. Because I'm very interested to hear how he will look. You know what they're going to – my guess is they're going to go to camp with Richardson competing. But what do they do? Is it a Sam Darnold who you expect to be your starter? Is it a mid-level journeyman who could beat him out? Do they draft the spot? What are the Colts – if the Colts are going to bring in competition, is it a Jameis Winston type guy? Who is it? What is it?
Well, that's a great question, which is the other thing we've heard a lot around. James Gladstone, Liam. That's a great question.
Yeah.
OSHA was great. OSHA was like, thank you. But yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing that I would say. It can't be Sam Darnold, because if you're going to sign Sam Darnold, commit that kind of money to him.
He's got to be your starter.
Then he's your guy.
That's not competition, right?
So that's not competition. Richardson's just no longer your starter.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I would think it's probably one of those bridge quarterback guys that you hope Richardson beats out. But the problem with that is, how do you hold the locker room? Here's my guess. Like, if they were to just sign, let's just say Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's going to beat him out.
Right. There's no
he's
doubt.
better than Anthony Richardson.
There's no question.
So how do you – I mean –
it's a great point.
How do you then manage your locker room when it's clear you're not starting the best guy?
Right.
So, I honestly think for the Colts, they probably should just take one more year of it being Richardson's show.
Let it be his job.
And let it be his job. And, I mean, obviously, that's risky for Ballard, who has been, there's been talk that he was going to get fired. Steichen obviously will be. I think Steichen's done a nice job, but he'll be going into, a make or break kind of year. But I almost think that I think that they're in a tough spot regardless.
Right.
But they're probably. I wouldn't have taken them at this point. I would sign like a Sam Darnold and just let Richardson be a backup, and then let him go in free agency when his contract expires. But they've sort of made their bed with this, and to me, the best thing to do would just be to replace him. But they don't seem to be at that point.
Yeah, and the other thing is they're probably scarred a little bit because they've gone through the go get the old veteran journeyman quarterback, and they've done that enough, and it's resulted in no titles. So it'll be interesting to see what they wind up doing. All right, let's get back to some Jaguars talk. We'll take a break. When we come back, you're going to hear from both the principals, James Gladstone, the brand new Jaguar general manager, Liam Cohen, in his first year as the Jaguars coach, will both join me in the 5 o'clock hour. Let's start with the GM. That's after the break on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold & Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
The Dolphins dance into the final regular season game against the Hatters for senior night at Swisher. J.U. Stetson, tomorrow night at 7 on 1010 a.m.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold & Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold & Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Hey, folks, Nick here for Zero Res. And if you still have a little bit of time for the hottest price of the year on carpet cleaning, maybe you had people over for the game or you're doing early spring cleaning. But in February, only $147 for 3 rooms, plus the 4th room is free. That's right. Schedule now and you'll get 3 rooms for $147, and the 4th room is free. Yeah, the 4th room is on me. Hottest price of the year. Zero Res. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREZ. Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This month, 1010XL shines the spotlight on African Americans in our community who have made the first coast a better place to live. I'm E.T. Listen for my stories during Black History Month on 1010XL. Brought to you by Instant Keys and McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. They're professionally trained builders. Deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Take your taste buds to One Night Taco Stand for Taco Tuesday. Get $2.99 tacos and $6.99 specialty drinks. The 1010XL restaurant of the day is One Night Taco Stand, Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Upgrade your home with the winning combination of style and performance from Renewal by Andersen. Energy efficient, custom built replacement windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires February 28th. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, you look worried.
Worried? I'm apoplectic!
You're what now?
I'm freaking out, Jason. Stupid water heater crapped out, so I haven't showered since Thursday. I start smelling a little funky, blow my big corporate job interview tomorrow. I'll end up settling for some dead-end career selling spatulas on the internet.
Dude, stay cool.
There's nothing cool about a cold shower, Jason. I mean, I know how that sounds, but
Bueller Air and Plumbing can get a new water heater installed today. The day you call. You could be smelling fresh again by dinner time.
Wait, you can do that?
Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Well, life moves pretty fast. If you spend much more time smelling like this, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hello,
First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and you got really cool things going on right now because there's new product coming in the showroom. Tell everybody about the Aprilia Demo Days.
March 11th and 12th. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to have the Aprilia Demo Truck. We caught them on the way back from Daytona Bike Week. They're going to be there. Come ready to ride.
Tell everybody real quick about Aprilia.
They are a bad Italian motorcycle. Nobody's ever ridden an Italian anything and said that wasn't fun.
Check it out. Cycles of Jacksonville. All the details on their Facebook page.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Riddle Wellness. It seems as if the Jaguars have found the fountain of youth, bringing in a 39-year-old head coach and a 34-year-old GM. The truth to these two new leaders is that their age is meaningless. They're focused on connecting with players and finding the correct fits for the team. Here's how General Manager James Gladstone answered the question of how much their young age plays into the process.
There's this aura of confidence and understanding that we have dynamic asset, and that is our ability to see what tools are available and apply and execute those within our spheres. I don't know that age has ever been something that my mind's ever gone to as a part of this process, and we certainly haven't even brought up in any conversations.
It's 69 degrees at 5:03. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Live from Indy, Hodges Mazda presents The Frangie Show at the Combine. Opened by Window World of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie with you. And what a pleasure to welcome in James Gladstone on 1010 for the first time, the brand new general manager. James, how are you, man?
Life is good. It's hard to complain. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Hey, we were flying yesterday during the presser, but I watched it. I was really taken by your emotion and the passion of it. Have you had a chance now to, man, it's been a whirlwind. You interview, then you got the job. Now you got to deal with knuckleheads like us. Have you had a chance to sit back and go, man, I'm an NFL GM? Has that happened yet for you?
First and foremost, when you mentioned yesterday, I almost started getting emotional again just because I like to root myself in the moment.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you take me back there, it surfaces all those same emotions. Not that that's a bad thing. But no, I don't know that I've taken a real step back to, view it through that lens just yet. I'm just excited about, getting to work, getting to know our scouting staff, our coaching staff, and really see their vision for the future, and then work through the dynamics to bring it all to life.
You said something really interesting yesterday, James, that when Les Snead told you, I know how close you are to he and his wife, this might be the one, is when you got interested. Why now? Why is the Jaguar job the right one, and why now?
That's a great question. I think there's a lot of variables to that. I think, Les's understanding of the shifting dynamics amongst the leadership group there and knowing that mirrored the same thing that exists in Los Angeles, I think along with knowing Liam Cohen on a personal level and that he and I complement each other well, also played its part. And so I think those two things were probably what weighed most. And I think it's not something that Les and I ever discussed previously. It was an organic, hey, I think this is probably the first one that has shown itself where, it could be successful, and would never raise my hand to say that you should attack it unless I thought it was.
James, alignment and collaboration are big buzzwords these days because you have to have that. I sense, and I know it's new, you all just got together, but watching Tony Baselli, a dear friend of mine and ours, and you and Liam kind of work together, boy, it feels that way, doesn't it? I know it's early. Talk about how important that aspect is, because it's critical, isn't it?
It is critical. And I think, my experience in Los Angeles had only reinforced that, right? Seeing Sean and Les operate the way that they did. And by default, because of Liam and I, we both have the same roots.
Yeah.
So by default, we're aligned on a lot of what we value. And there will be arguments along the way in terms of disagreeing on, having watched a player separately and not necessarily viewing them through the same lens. But, at the same time, all we have to do at that point is sit down together, turn on the tape, start talking out loud one play after the other, and we're going to find a bridge, find a way to connect the dots. And, I really look forward to that, because just getting to work is where you build the connective tissue that makes it all go.
Is that the most difficult? Difficult might be the wrong word, James, but is that the most angst when Les says, gosh, I like player X, and Sean says, boy, I like player Y, and they're both smart and they trust each other? Mm-hmm. But you got to pick either X or Y. Mm-hmm. Is that a difficult time, whether it's free agency, the draft, or whatever? How does that work?
It's not. When everybody drops their ego and isn't interested in being the one that's right, as opposed to making the right decision for the team that we work for, I think that goes a long way.
The traits versus production conversation is what everybody has. There's a lot of guys in the league that have long arms and run really fast that don't turn out to be great football players. I know that's not a binary answer. It's not one or the other. But how do you mitigate that?
I always think about it as talent and intangibles.
Okay.
And we're going to be hunting up the guys that have both. But, the thing is, those guys aren't abundantly available. So we'll lean into intangibles more than anything, and keep that as something we prioritize and be disciplined in that approach.
It's early. You just got here, but do you have an impression of the Jaguars roster yet? Is that an unfair question since you just got the job on Friday and we're sitting here on Tuesday? But do you have a thought about what you're working with yet?
Yeah, there's some talent in some key spots, and that was one of the things that was most exciting, most alluring about this opportunity. And we're meeting with our coaching and scouting staff this week to discuss not only our roster but also pro free agency. Yeah. And can't really wait to get into those conversations. We started them this morning. Took a break here for Media Row, but really looking forward to getting back.
What's the combine do for you? Do you meet players, you see players? How valuable is this week?
Yeah, I think for us, based off where we are on the timeline, it's basically an offsite. It's a chance for us to be under the same roof for 24 hours a day and build some of the connective tissue that I think I continue to mention is so critical to really us finding alignment, not only amongst our leadership group, but amongst our staffs.
You mentioned at the top your relationship with Liam. We all know that. You guys have been together. Tell me about Liam. Tell me about what you like about Liam as being the head coach that's going to work side by side with you. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, he's an elite communicator, a humble human being, and he gives this team a notable edge simply by the way he calls a game and schemes up his players to put them in the spots that they're going to find success. And so I really look forward to growing our relationship, because it's been a few years since we worked under the same roof, but at the same time, because we come from the same roots, I know that we have the same values in place.
So tell me about your life now. You got one on the way. Mm-hmm. You're having to move across the country. Mm-hmm. Crazy, right? I mean, what's the plan? What's next for you personally? How do you do all this?
You know what? It certainly takes support. I can't do it alone. My wife, Julie, is obviously pregnant, and she's got about a 30-day window here before travel is no longer allowed. So it does put a shot clock on really our timeline. Yeah. So we'll speed things up here down, the next week or two, and she'll take on a lot of that burden, and I know she'll do a great job, and I'll try and do what I can. And, we've been working together. I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
We've spent more than half of our lives together, right? I'm 34.
Okay.
We met in middle school, all right?
That's awesome. I didn't know that part. That's awesome.
So we've been along for this ride, seen the phases of each other throughout the entirety of our lives. And, without her, I wouldn't be who I am, and I think that goes both ways. And, I just really look forward to this phase and what it brings with it.
How important is it? That's a cool story. I didn't know that part. For your family. your folks, your wife, how big a deal is this? Are they pinching themselves a little bit, or is there too much to do?
I'm trying to get you bringing back those emotions.
I know. So,
I think they really enjoy it, and my parents, they ground me, and they've always provided such sound wisdom, such sound ways of thinking, and throughout this process, like when people became aware that it was something that I was a part of, they immediately, for the most part, would say, wow, what a great op. That's so cool that, you get a chance to do this. And my dad would always go back to, is this something you want to do? Is this what's going to make you happy?
Yeah.
And, I think that those lines of thought, they've always made it so that I can, reconsider things beneath the surface that might not just be standing there right at the top. And, I think their value is immense to me.
That is very cool. And I can see how real and visceral that is for you. And it's cool for me to hear you say that. I mean that very sincerely. Final thing or two. The connection to the Sneeds. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you were a young man when you got the job with the Rams. I mean, I sense that connection was a big part of your growth in that. Can you speak to that a second about Les and Kara and what they've meant to you?
Yeah, when I was a high school teacher, high school football coach, I had a vision for my life that's what I was going to be doing for a long time.
Yeah.
When I first met Les, when I first met Kara, I had no intentions of pursuing a path in the NFL, but Les was somebody I was drawn to. He's unapologetically himself, and he was somebody that I felt like I could learn from, somebody that I really wanted to support. And throughout my entire time with the Rams, that's where my mind was. It was never looking forward. It was rooted in that. And whenever that was going to change, that was when I would consider other options, but it never got to that point. And, they altered the trajectory of my life, and I'm forever grateful for that. And it's an experience that I'll carry forward with me and, my day-to-day here in this role.
Well, it landed here. It's not the end of the journey. It's the next chapter in the book. But congratulations. We're all really impressed with you, and we're excited you're here. You'll find out that the Jaguar fan base is a wonderful fan base.
I can already feel it.
They can't wait to have you here. So, James Gladstone, the brand new GM, thank you for stopping by. Good luck in Jacksonville.
Appreciate the opportunity for the fans. Appreciate the support.
James, thank you very much.
Till the next one.
James Gladstone, the general manager. What a good guy.
That's amazing that he's been with his wife since middle school.
Met her in middle school.
That beats even Trevor.
Yes, it does. But he was, and I knew he was going to get emotional when I asked him about. He's a really interesting mix. We're just getting to know him.
Yeah.
But it's a really interesting mix of incredibly intelligent, incredibly articulate, and an incredible analytical thinker, but also an emotional young guy that can't believe this has happened. Can you sense that?
And that was a really cool moment in the press conference yesterday when he did get visibly kind of choked up.
Yeah.
Talking about his wife, his family, and you love to see that stuff because we get so preoccupied with the results, but it was a cool moment, and it was interesting to see that come back out. But now it makes a lot more sense when they've been together since sixth grade or whatever.
They're probably 12 or 13 years old. Pretty amazing stuff. So we appreciate James stopping by. Let's take a break. When we come back, how about the football coach, Liam Cohen? He joins me after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
The Dolphins dance into the final regular season game against the Hatters for senior night at Swisher. J.U. Stetson, tomorrow night at 7 on 1010 a.m.
Tax season is here, and your refund can go further at Big Chief Tire. Frank Frangie here. Put the extra cash to work by investing in your vehicle, whether it's overdue maintenance, brake repairs, or new tires. Their skilled technicians will help you get the most out of every dollar. With 5 Jacksonville locations, fair prices, and trusted service, Big Chief Tire has everything you need to hit the road with confidence. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Looking for comfort with who you work with? Remember, Florida Home AC only hires the best. Background checks and drug screenings for all their technicians, so you can be confident when you choose Florida Home AC. Exceptional services, their guarantee at Florida Home AC.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hays' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Hacker here, thinking I did something spectacular, dropping 123 pounds. But then Steve pops in and dropped a whopping 150 pounds with Awaken 180 weight loss.
I got started because I was sick and tired of just being sick and tired all the time. Wanted more from life, and I knew that at my size, I wasn't being who I could be, who I want to be for not only myself, but for my wife. And I was like, something has got to change, and it's got to start soon. I mean, the program is so easy. Everything is really written down for you on your first day. Having someone there to help you and also keep you accountable, just having that someone to talk to, and even the fact that Awaken 180 offers free maintenance for life is amazing, because keeping the weight off is a lifetime commitment.
A lifetime commitment is what you'll receive with Awaken 180. 25 pounds like Dempsey, 40 pounds like Matt Hayes, or maybe it's over 100 pounds like Steve and me. Awaken 180 will get you there online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it. And send them a Coen floral arrangement. ET here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at CoenFlowers.com.
Need or want cash? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools,
and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The Combine is a showcase of skills. Live from Indy, Hodges Mazda presents The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Window World of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie with you from Indianapolis. Liam Cohen, the head coach now, making all the rounds. How are you, man?
Frank, appreciate you having me on. This is awesome. Really pleasure to be here.
Is it crazy? I mean, you told me something during the break. It's great. It's football, right? So you're enjoying this.
It is. I mean, what an opportunity to be around your staff for the first time, be able to see so many people that have helped pave the way, and friendships and relationships that you've been able to forge along the way. So really excited to be here.
Tell me about your staff. We all know now Grant's in place, Campanile's in place. Mm-hmm. They're the names. They're the coordinator names, but there's way more than that.
Yeah.
You're comfortable? Tell me how you put the staff together and how you feel about it.
Yeah, it was ultimately when you get hired, your first thought goes to the players. How do we go and build the most competitive staff that we can within the time frame that we have? Every single one of our coaches that we hired had another place to go in the NFL. Every single one. So you don't just have a board of guys that you can just go and pick, right? You got to go compete to go get them. You got to go recruit. And we recruited against a lot of really good football coaches and organizations to go get the guys that we did. And it's a group of dynamic, hungry, tough, mentally and physically tough people that want to get this thing right, and they got a chip on their shoulder. There's a prove-it mentality here, and we all have it.
I talked to James about it a minute ago, and so I'll tell you the same thing I said to him. The alignment and collaboration are the big buzzwords now, right? That's because they're so important.
That's right.
I do get the sense, I just met James, and I've known Bo forever, and we've gotten to know you now. I sense that's in place. I know it's early, but it feels that way, doesn't it?
It's very natural.
Yeah.
It is. It's a natural bridge that has been formed. And I've been able to watch James for a little while now, right? We were in the same organization in different arenas within that organization, but we both kind of ascended in different ways, right? And I went into a different path. He stayed there and continued to learn under Les and under Sean and with those guys. It's such a natural bridge of that communication and collaboration that we talk about, which is really exciting right now.
People rave about him, man. Yeah. What makes James Gladstone so good?
It's the elite communication skills. Like, he's so intelligent without making it known that he's one of the more intelligent guys in the room.
Great call. That's a great read on him.
You know, and just he can communicate with a defensive line coach the same that he can go and communicate with the athletic trainer. I mean, he just has a great way about him, very unassuming. He's a coach's kid. He's a coach's son. He grew up in locker rooms. He grew up on sidelines. And, those are things that I value personally and will ultimately help us with this whole process.
So since you've had the job, you've hired a bunch of staff, you've had to come here, there's a lot of stuff going on. What has it all been like? Can you catch your breath? Have you spent any time with your family? Have they moved? You got to move them. I mean, take me through the process to this point.
Right. So after hiring James on Friday, with some of that deal that we did, Saturday was the first time I've been able to breathe.
Yeah.
And it was a great breath of fresh air in terms of, okay, we're here. Now we can truly move forward. And you're excited about that. It gave me a boost of energy, actually, because, it was a grind. Yeah. It was a grind to get this thing going. But the family will be here this week.
Oh, good.
The kids will come out Wednesday. My wife will come out Friday. She sold the house back in Tampa already.
Good.
And we'll do some house hunting over the course of the next week. And it's been phenomenal. Everybody's support, their passion for getting this thing right. And doing it right in the process in which we want to do those things. I think that's what's exciting is everybody wants to see the process be clean. As long as the process is clean, the results will come.
And now there's some normalcy in your life, which is good. Tell me about the Combine. What do you get out of the Combine? What is this week like for you guys? Obviously, you're having to deal with knuckleheads like us for a while. But what's this week mean for you, talking to players the whole bit?
Yeah, we took our mode of operation from Jacksonville and took it to Indy.
Okay.
Right? So our offensive, defensive, and special team staffs, they're meeting as if they would be in Jacksonville right now. Obviously, they have to pivot and be able to do some of the undrafted, free agency meetings, the draft meetings, and those interviews. In their meantime, they're meeting. They're in there. So we're getting in the weeds. We're doing what we would be doing if we were in Jacksonville. We're just here in Indy. And then it's a great opportunity to get with the guys. We get with the staff, get to know each other a little bit more, watch them coach, right? Because in these formal meetings, you're watching your coach's coach. And so you're getting a great evaluation of these guys, and it gets you excited. So I think it's more about the collaboration with the group, right? Getting to know each other, feel each other out, and truly build those relationships.
Liam, I asked you this the day you got the job, and you couldn't have known a whole lot other than what you see on TV, but now you've had the job. Can you get a feel for your players yet? I know you've met with a lot of them. You haven't coached them yet or seen them play yet. Tell me about your roster, how you feel about it, maybe even differently now than 2-3 weeks ago.
I think there's a chip on their shoulder. I do. I think there's a chip on their shoulder. These guys know that they lost a lot of games by one score or less, and they're in a lot of football games. It's one thing to get beat; it's another thing to lose games, and we've got to eliminate losing games ourselves, right? You're going to get beat; it's part of the game. It's not going to be a standard, but it's part of it. We've got to eliminate losing games, and I think that these guys are hungry. They've got a chip; they want to prove it. They know that it's not that far off. And the work's coming, and I think they're excited about that.
Final thing or two, I was with Josh Hines Allen about a week or so ago, raved about you, raved about talking to you, and Josh is a smart guy now. He's a really smart, and he said, you get to know these coaches, and you get to know people who are going to be your bosses, and you can really tell. Players are smart.
They are.
And you can tell when a guy is legit, sincere, and I can't wait to play for the guy. That's what he told me. And so I get the sense you've already connected with some of those guys.
Yeah, we actually had a great opportunity to connect and have some multiple conversations, both personally and with football. And I've got so much respect for Josh. He's somebody that you want to embody what is a Jaguar, right? What are we trying to be both on the field and off the field, as a father, as a husband, right, in the community? Those are the things that we're looking to build upon, right? And, he comes from a place that I know, Brad White was his coach in college, who's a really good friend of mine. And I know Brad sees him as a son and somebody that he loves, that's part of his family. And those are the relationships ultimately you are trying to build, right? This isn't just about winning and losing. It's about relationships and impacting people's lives.
I talked to Mark Stoops, is a friend of mine. I said, did you talk to Mark about Liam? He said, absolutely I did, and he raved about you too. So cool. You're off to a great start. Hey, congratulations. Thank you for spending some time. I know it was a busy time for you. Good luck. I can't wait for the next one, but thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it.
Liam Cohen, the Jaguars head coach. It was great catching up with him. It really was. I think we're going to like this dude. Yeah, I think we're going to like this dude. Now, you're going to like him more if they're 8-1, not 1-8, right? But I think we're certainly going to like covering him.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm real excited about, particularly once we get into training camp, regular season, and to learn the ins and outs of his offense and the way his mind works, the way he sees it. It's going to be really cool. And this isn't to slight, Doug Peterson, but I just felt like there over the last couple of years, and this isn't like how you would judge a coach. If he's winning, who cares? But it just doesn't feel like there was much to be learned about what was happening. And I do think it'll be really exciting to see, because I do think the league is really changing offensively. And hopefully Liam Cohen is the man for the job. I do think it's cool that, what they're saying about, this has given them an opportunity as a staff to sort of come here and start to build that relationship. It was great to hear that Liam was in a defensive line free agent meeting before he met with us. And he's just passionate about the personnel side. Like, that's really cool as well. Like, if they've hit on Liam Cohen, he could be a star in a lot of different ways, not just as an offensive guy, but obviously you talked about his relationship with players. If he's able to have that component as well, where he's got a very good relationship. He's been described by James Gladstone, elite communicator. I think Tony Baselli has echoed that as well. And, and to get to a point where you also have a head coach that is up to his elbows in the personnel side of it and has a really good eye for that. So it is interesting that Liam Cohen and James Gladstone are both coaches' kids and knew really from the start that it's what they wanted to be. Well, certainly Liam wanted to be involved in it. James was on his way to being a teacher, but wanted to be around young people and help young people grow. And in professional football, there is absolutely an element to that. You can't just be hard-nosed. I don't want to have a relationship with the players. Do as I say, just go out there. I mean, that's just not how the world works now. So hopefully they're on to something. Hopefully these guys will be able to outfox their competition. Obviously, it's the most cutthroat professional sports organization that we have in this country from a parity standpoint. So it's a very hard climb, but it does feel like they've got the right mindset to do it.
It's been nothing but NFL and Jags to this point on the program. We come back. Hayes has some headlines. What's going on in the world of sports? That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The NASCAR Cup Series will be running its first road course event of the season, the Echo Automotive Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Shane Van Griesbergen is the betting favorite to win the race. He is at plus 500. Tyler Reddick, William Byron, both at plus 700. Byron is the race's defending champion. Connor Zilchich is plus 750. Kyle Larson plus 900. Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell are both at plus 1,000. They'll be running 95 laps on the 20-turn circuit that runs 2.3 miles and features 130 feet of elevation change. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Duck Duck Rooter is the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, and we want to help you protect your septic system. Think about this. What would happen to your car if you never changed the oil? Septic systems are no different and should be pumped at least every 3 years. Lack of maintenance is the #1 reason for septic system failure. Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services today to schedule your pumping.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
It's time to elevate your game night. Head to Best Bet, your premier destination for poker, card games, and hospitality. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine, we have a seat ready for you. Whether you're a seasoned poker player or just starting out, we have you covered with poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And it's not just poker. With delicious dining, lively bars, and big screen events, there's something for everyone at Best Bet. Visit BestBetJax.com to learn more. That's BestBetJax.com and ante up for fun.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble.
At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hair4me.com.
The First Tee Tour Card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org. for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Mia O'Brien here for Pro Jacks Roofing. Here at the Superstation, we talk a lot about pros. Pro football, pro baseball, pro basketball, pro sports. But if you want a true pro when it comes to your roof, you should call Mike with Pro Jacks Roofing. Mike's been in the roofing biz for well over 25 years, and when you call, you don't get a recording, you get Mike himself. Find Mike's cell on ProJacksRoofingFL.com. That's ProJacksRoofingFL.com. Don't rely on the third string option. Call in the starter with Mike at Pro Jacks Roofing.
Staying Alive, One Night of the Bee Gees. A tribute like you've never seen before. Experience the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist performed live. March 6th at Jack Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harold & Harold. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. We are at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, and that's where we're going to start, Frank. The Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen and general manager James Gladstone met with reporters, met with you as well today. Just an overview of how you think it went. Anything that stood out to you from Liam Cohen and James Gladstone?
Really like them as people. I think they're down to earth. I think they're committed. I think they're going to be very good football people. You don't know how it's going to go till they play, and I know that, and we all know that, and you can predict all you want. But what we do know is I've had Liam on twice now. First time I've met James. I know the buzz around here is that people are very intrigued at what this the young group. My friend Mark Vandermeer calls them the Rat Pack, or the Brat Pack, I should say, because they're young. It's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. But I like the way they're being received to this point, I will tell you that.
In terms of news around the NFL, we got kind of a significant development just in the last 30 or so minutes when Colts general manager Chris Ballard met with reporters just right behind us. He says quarterback Anthony Richardson will face an open competition from a quarterback the Colts will add this offseason. Boy, that's bad news for Anthony Richardson.
Well, and he made it official. Matt Taylor on the show today told me there's going to be a competition. He said, now, I don't know how that's going to manifest itself. Is it going to be a veteran? Is it going to be someone they draft? Is it going to be someone they pick up, someone in between, like sort of a journeyman? But somehow, some way. So Matt said it. and the general manager confirmed it, that it's not necessarily Anthony Richardson's job, but it'd be very interesting to follow.
Yeah, without a doubt. We kind of were talking about, options. I do wonder if, like, Mac Jones might be a fit in Indianapolis. If I was the Colts, he's the kind of guy, because I don't think they're going to go after Sam Darnold, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers would come to the Colts. I say that. I don't know that he'd view them as enough of a contender, but maybe a Mac Jones who's a free agent might be a good fit there, because he's somebody that I still think might have a chance to be a starter. He's still young.
Yeah, Mac Jones, Gardner Minshew, of course he was there before, but someone like that who's in between. You're right. If it's Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold, there's no competition.
Right.
They're the quarterback.
They're the guy.
So if the word is competition, it's going to be a mid-level guy that hasn't quite hit stride but may have something left in him. A Jameis Winston. It'll be somebody like that. Yes, I think Matt could be in play. My guess is it's more like a guy like Jameis Winston who has a chance to win that job. You made a good point earlier. Jameis Winston's almost like Darnold. You almost assume he's going to be the quarterback. And so but yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see that way that plays out.
I think also when the GM says it's an open competition, I think what that tells you is it's probably not going to be right. I think that's your first indication to your fan base that be prepared for him not to be your starter this season.
And as much as we all like Anthony as a person, the two things, we talked about this early in the program. I talked about it with Matt, and you and I talked about it. The two things that hampered him at Florida, availability, he was hurt a lot, and he was not an accurate passer. That's a reality. And that part hasn't changed since he's been in the NFL.
Yeah, without a doubt. The Bills have agreed to a 4-year extension with receiver Khalil Shakir worth $60 million. He caught 76 passes last season. Is one of the league's most improved players.
He's a good player. And certainly playing with Josh Allen makes you look good. There's no question you're a better player when you're playing with Josh Allen. But Shakir's a good player. That extension does not surprise me.
Chiefs general manager Brett Veach expects tight end Travis Kelce to play in 2025.
You know what? Why would he not? If you think about it, we had this conversation with Joe Cullen yesterday, who knows him very well. He's the defensive line coach there. What Travis Kelce is now is better than what a lot of tight ends are now. It may not be as good as what Travis Kelce was 6 years ago, but it's better than a lot of the tight ends playing. I think he enjoys playing. Why would he not continue? Doesn't surprise me a bit.
Let's get to college basketball. Number 3, Florida travels to face Georgia tonight. The Gators are 24-3 overall, 11-3 in SEC play, while the Bulldogs are 16-11 and 4-10, desperate for a major win. They're out when you look at the projections right now in terms of the NCAA tournament. Florida has won 12 straight games against Georgia, as Todd Golden is 6-0 against Mike White. Georgia just 2-11 in quad 1 games this season. Florida, of course, beat Georgia 89-59 on January 25th. Does this one get dicey for the Gators?
I don't think so. Now, look, LSU got dicey for a half. Anybody can beat anybody. You don't want to lose one of those close ones because then the unacceptable people come out. Oh, that's unacceptable. Well, sometimes you get upset. That's the way it goes. But I would be surprised. I think Florida's found itself. Alex Condon, by the way, expected to play, certainly to be available tonight. That means they're close to back to full strength, and with Micah Hand locked in there, too. I don't know about Sam Alexis. I think Florida's going to beat Georgia. I think Florida, you're not upset proof. That's the wrong word because anybody can be upset. But this is a team that's less likely to lose to a lesser team. Now, again, upsets happen. They were down at 6 at the half against LSU on the road, and it is a road game. But I would think the Gators are going to win that game.
JU with a huge home win against Eastern Kentucky, 59-55. Robert McCray had a double-double with 15 points and 10 rebounds. The Dolphins improved to 11-6 in ASUN play, tied with Eastern Kentucky and Queens for 4th place. JU will close the regular season at home against Stetson.
If they win that game, they get a home game. That's what you do. They're already in the tournament, but they're not assured of playing at home. They're not going to be in one of those play-in games, but they could be on the road. You win tomorrow night, they're at home, so that'd be a big thing for the Dolphins.
UNF will be in the play-in game, or one of them. UNF falls at Florida Gulf Coast 86-82. The Ospreys drop to 8-9 in conference play. UNF allowed a 52.3% shooting night and were out-rebounded by 12. UNF hosts Eastern Kentucky in the regular season finale, but it appears their fate is pretty much sealed.
Yeah, they're gonna play on somebody else's campus that's not playing in the first game. You play the first game, if you win it, then you've got to beat that very high seed. But I'll say it again, when they're not rebounding and not defending, UNF isn't as good a team as they'd like to be. But when they're making shots, they're a team nobody wants to play. And I still feel that way. It'll be interesting to see the way it finishes.
We'll get you out on a musical note. Look, we're in Indiana. We're in the heartland. We're not changing it up. We're playing John Mellencamp.
Wonder which one we're playing is what I want to know.
This is Cherry Bomb. Where does this one rank for you, Mr. Frangie?
First. Okay. This is John Mellencamp's best song to me. I could listen to this all day long. I mean, who doesn't love this?
Yeah.
If you don't love this, something's wrong with you loving. That's nothing question.
You're not an
about
American.
That. You're not an American is exactly right. Well done. Well done. I got to get to the cool down in a minute, but I want to listen for a second. Can I do that? Well done. Great job on headlines as always. There you go, JJ. That's what I'm talking about. My goodness, I love coming to the Combine, and nothing says Indiana quite like our friend John Mellencamp. Where have we been today in the program, JJ?
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Our friend John Mellencamp, like I know him. Like we
I liked it. Hey, I thought it sounded good.
Like we hang out.
He's going to go watch the Gators game with us.
John and Meg are hanging out.
Yeah, we're meeting him at the bar down the street to watch the Gator game.
Today on the program, Matt Taylor, who is my friend, stopped by, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Colts at 4:20. James Gladstone, we had him on. The interview is at 5 o'clock. Liam Cohen at 5:20. All Combine talk today throughout the course of the day. That's why we are here, and we're happy to be at the Combine. And that is where we've been. That is the cool down for today. Today was a good day. We got to see a lot of people. We had a lot of them on the air. And thanks to Mia, too, by the way. She did a lot of the sending, a lot of the digital stuff and getting it up. And her digital department got that stuff up and running on the air as well. So we certainly do appreciate that. But it's been a fun couple of days. One more day here for us. And then some more sound and stuff. Mia will stay here Thursday and be able to pick up some stuff. You and I'll get on the road a little bit earlier because we have a live remote at a local restaurant we're looking forward to on at Dua in the Bay Meadows area. We're looking forward to that on Thursday, but we'll be here one more day. But it was good. We get a feel for I will say this. There is an energy and an enthusiasm. Matt asked me on his show today when I was on in Indianapolis. He said, what's the energy like with this new regime? I said, listen, that's an easy question. How they will do, what will happen, how the whole thing manifests itself, we'll see. But the energy, that has been about as palpable as anything around this franchise in a long time. I think it's very clear.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's going to be really exciting now. We're getting closer to the acquisition phase where, they're going to have to show their hand, which is going to be really exciting to see. Who are they going to bring in? Which players are they going to retain? I think it's going to be really exciting to see what the next month holds because they clearly have big aspirations and big plans for where they want to take this roster.
Yeah, so it's going to be certainly these are exciting times for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're exciting times in the NFL. The NFL is on top of the world. It keeps getting bigger. It's playing in more countries than ever. And this Combine, I was talking to Mark Vandermeer about it and John Harris from the Houston Texans earlier. John made a good point. He said his first time he ever came to the Combine was in 2015. He said in 2015 there were 6 or 7 tables here. 6 or 7 tables at Radio Row. There's 64 today. They went from 6 to 64 in the 10 years or so that we've been covering this thing, which is really cool stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It's an extravaganza. The athletes start coming in tomorrow, so that'll be exciting. Mason Graham will certainly be the star of the show in a lot of people's minds, and obviously we'll be locked in on every word that he has to say when he gets up there at the podium.
All right, let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Rick, the biggest news sort of this Combine, not that it's all that much of news, but Chris Ballard, the general manager of the Colts, made it very clear that Anthony Richardson's going to have to fight for his job this year. There's going to be competition. Surprised by that?
Not entirely. I think the entire division is in flux outside of C.J. Stroud and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the Will Levis gamble hasn't worked. Mel Kiper today actually had him getting Abdul Carter with the top overall selection, which I found a little bit interesting. I would think they would go back to quarterback, but the whole thing there with AR, the guy can't stay healthy. He took himself out because he was tired. I mean, how much does he want it? And, we're talking about new coaches, man. It's like 50% across the board. Coaches gone within 3 years. First-round starting quarterbacks gone in 3 years. It's pretty amazing.
Well, you're exactly right. That's the thesis statement. Quarterbacks and coaches churn very quickly in the National Football League. Rick, what's coming up tonight on your program?
I got to tell you something. First off, I don't like agreeing with you as much as I have recently, but Cherry Bomb is absolutely incredible. I'd put it at number 2 all time. I got to go with, and I ain't even done with the night. I mean, to me, that is just sensational. Early John Mellencamp, John Cougar Mellencamp. And the other thing I want to know before you make your way back over here, how fired up are you to call Ted Aurora McMillan to the left side of us, BTJ to the right side of us?
Let me tell you this. If they had both those guys, I want to see him address the line. If those are the two receivers, oh goodness, Rick! Yeah. I mean, that would be pretty spectacular. Spectacular.
He looks like Mike Evans. He doesn't have the separation speed. His 40 time out there is going to be so significant. If he can run a 4.47, 4.48, something like that, he's going to be absolutely the top wide receiver. But if he's pedestrian, this guy's going to free fall in the first round.
I think they need to address the line. Mason Graham's there. That's an easy one for me.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, if you wind up with McMillan on one side and BTJ on the other, I could call that all day long. You're exactly right.
All right, guys. Have a lot of fun out there.
Thanks,
we'll
buddy.
see you soon.
Rick Ballou goes into the night, and that happens right now. Folks, that's our program. We'll be back live here at Indianapolis yet another day from the NFL Scouting Combine. Hays and I will be here. JJ back in World Headquarters. For JJ and Hays, I'm Frank Frangie. Have a great night.